Hello everyone, welcome back to Maritime SoftwareHub, the People Podcast. Today I'm really pleased to be joined by a Seattle-based organisation and their founder and CEO, Mike Baldwin. Mike joins us from OpenTug, and we're going to talk about kind of bringing visibility and AI to inland waterways over in North America and sort of further afield. So welcome, Mike. Thank you very much for coming on the show. Love it if you could tell us a bit about yourself and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Callum. Really appreciate it. And super excited to be here and talk with you today. So my name is Mike Baldwin. I'm one of the founders and COO at OpenTug. And OpenTug is a visibility and optimization platform built specifically for the barge industry. We started this company a number of years ago, working with my partner, Jason, when he was working in the barge industry. And we worked together for a number of years and known each other for a while. I have a software background, and I've been trying to build and solve problems for most of my life. And what we saw within the barge industry is that there was a lot of disconnected data and inefficiencies that he saw when working in his role. We went out and decided to go and try to learn more about the industry, see what opportunities existed, and it led us to build what OpenTug has turned into today. We've gone through a number of iterations, but today the problem that we're really trying to solve is giving people really true understanding and data about what's occurring on their barge voyages, and finding ways to optimize and improve them over time. One of the biggest problems that exists is that data is pretty siloed within the industry. So when you think about a barge shipper, for example, they may be working with 5, 6, 7, 10 different barge companies, each of which is communicating with them independently in their own way. So they may send orders to each of those carriers requesting services. Those carriers may send a confirmation for those orders back to them via email, and then send various status reports along the status and the progress that those voyages are making. You're getting those once a day in disparate, disconnected formats that are different between each carrier, which you're then trying to marry up with other data sources that you're looking at on your own. So that might include tracking the boat that the barges are pushing via AIS, looking at weather data to try to understand if there's going to be an impact to your specific voyages, or looking at lock queues or terminal berth schedules to understand when your cargo is actually going to load or unload. And as a result, you're spending a lot of time wrangling this data together to try to get a picture of what is going on with your specific supply chain. And it makes it hard to be able to make informed decisions on how you can improve or really most time handle issues that come up along the way, as is the nature of supply chain. In a nutshell, what we're doing is taking all of this data that exists today across your emails and your third-party data sources or first-party information that you may have on your own facilities, and bringing it into a single pane of glass so that you can really understand what's going on without having to wrangle this data, and then use that information to make better, more informed decisions overall.
Okay, brilliant. That makes sense. And thank you for the overview. And just to sort of circle back a little bit, so have you always kind of like wanted to kind of grow your own business, and was that sort of the plan from while you were studying, or did this come up about meeting your co-founder, kind of put two and two together really to create the OpenTug?
Yeah, definitely. And I've always enjoyed building things, and I've started a number of businesses and projects in my past. Like when I was in high school, I built a kind of a similar application for the skiing industry. I aggregated a bunch of data on different ski resorts so that you could put in kind of the runs that you like to ski, and we do some data analysis and try to make recommendations to you as you visit some other location, like what you might like in that area based off of the weather conditions and what have you. and Jason and I, my co-founder, worked on that together. We worked on some trading algorithms. We kind of always were building things together to approach different problems that we saw within our lives. But when we were in school together and he started working at barge companies, it seemed like there was a lot of white space, as in that there weren't a lot of companies or organizations focusing on the barge industry, and there were a lot of problems that folks that he was working with had expressed that they've been dealing with for quite some time. And we definitely didn't get to the core of what we're doing today for a number of years after that. But I think from the beginning, we saw that this was an industry that was deserving of attention and that wasn't really getting it, that we felt it wasn't getting it at the time. And so even before we really started the company, I think we knew that there was a big opportunity here that we wanted to go tackle, and we were committed to doing that from the beginning.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, brilliant. Yeah, I started up our recruitment agency by myself, essentially. And I think looking back, if I had a co-founder, I guess some areas, or certainly my weaknesses, it would be great to have somebody, a partner to help prop you up when needing and things. But either way, I think it's fantastic what you built, and obviously learning more about you guys as we speak and get to know each other. But I think in terms of the maritime technology focused on the inland waterways and rivers and coastal sort of, I haven't seen too much, as you said, it's kind of a bit too many businesses out there focusing on this area. So I think it's a fantastic niche that you're working in. In terms of sort of the lack of transparency, as the main kind of topic, can you give us a bit more about any examples of where there are kind of gaps, would you say, like in terms of, as you said, data earlier, or too much kind of back and forth emails, essentially?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a couple of main areas where you lose transparency within the barge industry specifically. The first of which is just to put like an anchor on this. Like barges themselves are essentially like they're floating pieces of steel. They're big, massive pieces of equipment, but oftentimes are not. At least not continuously powered. Unlike a boat, which is always transmitting an AIS location data for safety reasons, barges themselves don't traditionally have any way to broadcast their location. And most of the time, this is okay because you can pair up which barge is with which boat, and that boat itself will be transmitting location. But in some cases, those two may separate from each other. Namely, barges are placed in what are called fleets, which are kind of like parking lots on the side of the river, in between different operations. Maybe it's before loading while they're waiting for a dock to be ready, or if they're shifting between two different boats within their voyage, they may sit in a fleet for some period of time there. And essentially, when that happens, you lose all visibility into what's occurring. You're going to get an email the next day with your daily position report that will say, hey, at this time we entered the fleet, and at this time we departed the fleet. But if you're trying to plan your dock schedule, and you basically are waiting for someone to give you a call and say, okay, we're leaving that fleet, you're kind of reliant on these other information sources that you're getting from normally the carrier to inform you of what's going on within the operation. And so that's a big gap in data that people have that doesn't exist in a programmatic way. You can't query AIS data, and when you do get it, it's in an unstandardized format that isn't necessarily straightforward to put into some sort of an existing data system if you wanted to try to learn or gain insights onto how efficient your fleeting operations are. And so like these things are small pieces of the journey, but when it comes to logistics and trying to find inefficiencies, it's the difference in thousands of dollars depending on how long you're spending in those fleets. And especially if there's someone waiting for that product to arrive, let's say a blue water vessel where you're going to be paying tens of thousands of dollars in demurrage for if something doesn't get there on time. It's important to really understand what is going on within these voyages so that you can know where you're performing well and where you have opportunities for improvement. And that's the same on both from a shipper or a charterer who's buying services from a barge company and a barge company themselves. As a barge company, you want to work your asset as much as you can, and so you want to get as many barge turns as possible into your barge over the course of the year. And these small inefficiencies are going to eat into that potential. And so everybody is incentivized and wants to be more efficient with the voyages, but without the data, it's difficult to be able to make these types of decisions.
Okay. Awesome. And in terms of the type of data that you're collecting, any examples you can share there?
Yeah, definitely. So to solve those problems, we're one of the first companies to be deploying at scale GPS tracking devices onto barges. So we have intrinsically safe satellite-based tracking devices which broadcast location of the barges back to our software, so that you can gain full visibility into what's occurring on your asset, whether it's with or without a boat at any time. We then use artificial intelligence to read those traffic emails that we're getting from the different carriers and turn them into a standardized data format, so that no matter who you're getting the data from, you have a single standardized way to look at like what's occurring across all these voyages in aggregate. That combined with what we're getting, like publicly available data, like location data from the boats, weather data, lock queues, etc., allows us to create a single, a completely cohesive view into what's happening on these voyages today. We're also looking at additional opportunities to combine with our devices. Now that we have devices on the barges, what else is possible to send data back? So we have some pilots out there looking at collision detection to detect when potential damage may occur to a barge. We're looking at other sensors as well, depending on our customers' needs. But I think now that we're putting this infrastructure in place, we really are building the building blocks to allow full cycle visibility into the barge industry, which hasn't been seen today. So we're really excited about this data that we're able to provide to our customers, because it really unlocks a lot of opportunity for improvements for them today.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And are your customers typically transporting goods like in certain regions, like the waterways, or even along the coast itself, or is it very much kind of pretty broad across America and Canada?
Yeah, we focus specifically on the barge industry, and so most barge transportation in the U.S. today is done in the U.S. Gulf, the Mississippi River, and the general river area, so Ohio River, Missouri River, etc., and then some work on the coast as well. So up into the Northeast, the Intracoastal Waterway, and some work into Alaska and Puerto Rico as well. But we focus specifically on where we saw the largest opportunity for improvement, which was the barge industry. So inland and coastal transportation in North America. That being said, I mean, a lot of our customers that we work with today have global operations and are experiencing similar issues in Europe and in South America and in Asia. And we're starting to work with some of our partners into bringing our services to those other markets to replicate the same success we've seen in the U.S. and in other parts of the world.
Okay, and are you using? Well, I'm sure you are. Are you adopting kind of AI and using different sort of strategies to help either customers make better decisions, or even for your own team to kind of work on different processes at all?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like AI is kind of the talk of the town right now, and there's a lot of people talking about what possibilities there are today and what there will be in the near future, and we're definitely along those lines as well. So, I mean, like I mentioned, we use AI to extract data and then bring in standardized unformatted data. Which is really exciting for a lot of our customers, just to be able to query and get insights from data that was previously stored in an inaccessible way, and that wouldn't be possible without AI. So we're really excited about that, but also, like you said, supporting customers' decision making and enhancing the data we have. So we have proprietary models that we've built on just to predict like ETA and vessel speed, river traffic, and we're looking at what we're initially predicting for voyage delivery, and looking at what's actually happening in the real world, and then continuously improving our models over time. So as more and more voyages get planned in our system, our predictions only get better and better. But then on top of that, like now that we have this data and we have these accurate delivery timings and cost estimates as well, which is something I haven't touched that much on about. Or looking to the future, we're really excited about what we're looking at for cargo planning and signal optimization. So basically looking at a company's entire fleet of assets, looking at a specific requirement that you may have, and then determining the best options available from within your fleet. So maybe you have one barge that's close by the load location, but had a previously incompatible product. So you'll have to go and clean that barge before you can put it into service to load this product. There may be one that's further away, but doesn't require cleaning because that product is compatible. And overall, it'll save you time and money to use that other one, even though it's maybe not the first one that you'd look at if you were just looking at what's the closest one available to the specific requirement. So that's a big initiative that we're working on internally today, and giving people who are like voyage schedulers and voyage optimizers the ability to have all of the options in front of them, do scenario planning and scenario modeling with our AI estimation tools, and make sure that they're choosing and evaluating the best options for every single request they have to make the most efficient decision every time.
Yeah. And then who is normally your key point of contact within a customer? Is it like the head of fleet operations, that type of person, or are there other kind of key decision makers that you engage with?
Yeah, I mean, we work across a variety of teams in our customers' organizations. So definitely folks in the logistics and planning department, the folks who are actually managing and planning these voyages. We work, if we're talking to barge operators, in the sales department as well, trying to estimate voyages and understand like the voyage costs, and then also in like finance and operations. So like looking at the data that actually happened on a voyage to inform either invoicing or invoice reconciliation, so that they can get paid faster or send their invoice out faster to the customer. So really, I think across the organization, we're seeing there's a lot of interest and excitement around having better data. And so we've been working with our customers to deploy it across these teams to give them better visibility into what's going on.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. And I mean, before we move on a little bit and talk about a bit more about the sort of the talent side of the business and how you approach hiring, is there anything else you'd like to share about OpenTug or what you see happening in the space at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think like overall, we're really excited to be in the space and working on these problems. I think every customer that we talk to has a slightly different set of issues that they're experiencing, but they all seem to be anchored together by a desire and an excitement for having more data. I think if you look at logistics as a whole and other parts of the supply chain, you've seen a lot of modernization and innovation that's occurred around better visibility, better predictability, better understanding of what's going on in the supply chain, and the tug and barge industry just hasn't seen the attention that these others have, and those innovations have led to increased efficiency, reduced costs, and increased usage of these assets across the world. And we're super excited to be a small part of improving access to our nation's waterways. So we're really excited to look towards the future. I think there's a lot of opportunity, even past what we're looking at today.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. And in terms of, when you talk about the future and opportunities, in terms of the people aspect and people side, do you see typically an interest from either kind of graduates or youngsters sort of coming through that have found out about maritime technology and shown an interest in general, or do you typically kind of get applicants over the years from people within the logistics and maritime space itself?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, within our organization, we have both sides of that coin. We have folks who are coming into a role at our business with little to no understanding of maritime or even logistics at all. But I think they see the stuff that we're building and the opportunity that exists and the potential for improvement in the industry, and are excited to take the dive. And I think it's especially in Seattle. Seattle has a strong maritime history. The city itself was founded around the port here in the water and the geography of this region. But I think it also has a very strong technology culture today, based off of just what's happened in the area. And being able to marry those two things together, I think, is exciting for folks who are around here. But it definitely is something that we have to deal with and support. And we try to do that by, if we have someone who's coming, has more of a technology background, we try to get them on a boat or in front of the real users of our application, to kind of actualize and materialize what it is that we're focusing on, and help them visualize what the things they work on every day, what they impact, and how they can be integrated into what is truly it's a very physical business. You're moving real cargo, and there's safety risks and safety considerations and things that maybe someone who's spent most of their life working in a technology background might not have as much exposure to. But try to get them in the right mindset to think about what the problems we're solving and the people that we're working for experience every day. And we do a similar thing for the other side, right? Like, we're bringing someone from the maritime background, trying to talk through like how we can apply technology and what our thesis for technology in the maritime industry is, to get everybody aligned and kind of walking in the same direction.
Okay, that makes sense. And I guess in terms of even things like barge or pilot operations, that type of thing, in general, would you say that you have a relationship with people that actually operate the barges themselves, in terms of the pilots, the people that transport the barges from A to B, or most of the barges, are they kind of self-propelling, they can actually drive themselves?
Yeah, I mean, the barge industry is it's definitely driven by people, and the people are the bedrock of what's keeping the industry moving and enabling the transport. So yeah, we definitely have a relationship with the folks who are working on those barges, and I try to spend or any opportunity I get to go and work with folks who are actually in the field. I take, and I encourage our team to do the same. I was lucky enough to be out on the river just last week with some folks, and it's always super insightful for me to think about how our solutions are being applied or what impact they have in the real world. And I think that's the way the industry is going. It's very, very people driven, and we're very people driven as well. But it definitely important.
Yeah, I'm sort of the same over here. I'm in Tampa, in Florida, and we recently did a harbour tour, and you went around the port of Tampa and saw a number of the barge operators, and and there a couple of the crew were actually on our boat on the tour, so we got to speak to them quite a lot, and incredible. They got that involved with everything. If they're an engineer, they're doing all the sort of day-to-day maintenance of the vessel, as well as kind of getting in touch with operations and things as well. So that was a good insight from our point of view.
And I think also, like, within the industry too, it's like there's a lot of cross-pollination between folks working on the water and in the office as well. A lot of folks who are maybe the users of our software who would be working on shore, but once before had been on the boats themselves. So I think that, like, it's a very connected industry, and what's happening on the boats is what drives what's happening in the office, which drives what we do. So we try to make sure we think about that whole life cycle of everything every time we're working on something new.
Yeah, it is very similar to the commercial shipping space, what we see. So we mainly help businesses recruit kind of software sales or product managers type of professionals. And a lot of those candidates have kind of come from either being at sea as a naval architect or marine engineer, or they might have been a charterer or worked as a freight trader or commodity trader, that type of thing. So it definitely sounds like similarities between the kind of commercial shipping and the barge space. So and obviously kind of AI and transparency is impacting both sectors hugely. So I really appreciate your time, Mike, and your comments. If anyone would like to reach out to you or the OpenTug team, what's the best way for them to do so?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I encourage folks to check out our website, opentug.com. If you want to reach out or have questions, feel free to send us an email. You can send it to team@opentug.com. But yeah, that goes to me. Me and my team will make sure to get back to you. But take a look at what we have. If you're excited about it, please feel free to reach out, and hope we can build some connections.
Yeah, brilliant, cool. Well, before I let you go, I know you mentioned you're based in Seattle, and you talked about your first business of obviously working in the skiing and slope side. So, are you a passionate skier or snowboarder, or was that more as a business opportunity you spotted?
No, yeah, I love to ski. There's great skiing here in Seattle. If anyone has the opportunity to come out, it's a ton of fun. Yeah. Very
nice. Cool. All right, Mike. Well, yeah, thank you again. As I said, if anyone would like to reach out to Mike, please do so. And for everyone tuning in, I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and we'll speak again soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Callum.
No problem.